Skin tightness after washing. Why it happens and how to fix it. You wash your face. You rinse off the water. You reach for a towel, and at that moment, your skin is already starting to feel tight. 5 minutes later, the sensation intensifies. Half an hour later, it eases a little, but the next morning, it all starts again. This feeling of tightness after washing, familiar, daily, just the way my skin is a signal of skin barrier damage, not a normal state. Today, as a dermatologist, I'll explain why skin feels tight after washing, what mechanism is behind it, and why panthenol is one of the most well-supported ingredients for restoring this barrier. How people live with this symptom. Tightness after washing is often perceived as a natural feature of one's skin. I just have dry skin, that's normal. It is precisely this belief that leads people to ignore the symptom for years without looking for the cause. Yet tightness is not a skin type and not a life sentence. It is a signal. There is another important observation. Tightness after washing is often the first symptom of early atopic dermatitis or chronic skin dryness. If tightness is joined by itching, redness, or flaking that does not go away, this is a reason to see a dermatologist. Early consultation prevents the condition from becoming chronic. There are several characteristic stories I hear in my practice. The first story, a 32-year-old woman. She washes her face morning and evening with a cleansing gel. The packaging says, "For normal skin." After every wash, her skin feels tight for 30 to 40 minutes. On examination, a disrupted skin barrier with increased transepidermal water loss. The cause? The surfactants in the gel were destroying the intercellular lipids of the stratum corneum. Switching her cleanser and adding a panthenol cream normalized the barrier within 3 to 4 weeks. The second story, a 45-year-old man. He washes with hot water. It cleans properly. After washing, his skin feels tight and red. Hot water is one of the most aggressive factors for the skin barrier. It dissolves the lipid mantle more effectively than warm or cool water. Switching to cool water and applying panthenol cream within 1 to 2 minutes after washing produced quick results. The third story, a 26-year-old woman. She washes with regular bar soap. Why spend money on special products? Bar soap with an alkaline pH of 8 to 9 is the most damaging to the skin's acid mantle, which has a normal pH of 4.5 to 5.5. After each wash, the skin takes between 30 and 90 minutes to restore its pH, and during this period, the barrier function is compromised. The fourth story, a 51-year-old woman. Tightness didn't always occur. It began intensifying around 3 to 4 years ago. This is an age-related aspect. After the age of 45, ceramide synthesis decreases, the NMF content in the stratum corneum diminishes, and sebum production declines. It is precisely this age-related weakening of barrier mechanisms that makes skin sensitive to influences it previously tolerated without issue. There is a practical takeaway from this observation. A skincare routine that worked in one's 20s and 30s often becomes insufficient after the mid-40s. That's exactly why the appearance of tightness, where "this never happened before," is a signal to revise the skincare ritual, not a reason to tolerate discomfort. There are specific age-related skin changes that affect the barrier. After the age of 45, the ceramide content in the stratum corneum decreases by 30 to 40% compared to young skin. This explains why a panthenol cream for skin over 45 is often needed daily, not just after washing. What do all these stories have in common? Tightness after washing is almost always the result of a disrupted skin barrier. The cause varies: an unsuitable product, hot water, age-related decline in barrier function. But the result is the same: a temporary impairment of the skin's ability to retain water. It is precisely this ability that panthenol is directed at restoring. There is important data. According to dermatological research, more than 60% of people who consider their skin dry actually have a normal skin type with a disrupted barrier. It is barrier dysfunction, not true dryness, that causes tightness in most people. This is a critically important distinction because a damaged barrier can be restored, while dry skin tends to be accepted as an unchangeable fact. The mechanisms. Let me start with the basics. The skin barrier resides in the stratum corneum. Its structure resembles brickwork, horny scale cells called corneocytes. The bricks are embedded in a lipid mortar made of ceramides, fatty acids, and cholesterol. It is this intercellular mortar that keeps water inside the skin and prevents it from evaporating into the environment. When this mortar is disrupted, water begins to escape. The skin experiences this as tightness. There is an important detail about barrier recovery time. Complete restoration of skin pH after washing with a neutral product takes approximately 30 to 60 minutes. After alkaline soap, up to 2 to 3 hours. During this period, the barrier is especially vulnerable. Additional washing, dry air, or irritants increase water loss. Mechanism 1. Surfactants and disruption of the lipid mantle. Washing with cleansing products, gels, foams, soaps, works through surfactants, commonly abbreviated as SAS. Surfactants are what allow dirt to be rinsed away by dissolving fats. But these substances do not distinguish between bad contaminating fat and the good intercellular lipids of the stratum corneum. They wash out both. After washing, the barrier mortar is partially destroyed. Transepidermal water loss increases, and the skin tightens. Mechanism 2. Disruption of the acid mantle and skin. pH. The normal pH of the skin surface is acidic, around 4.5 to 5.0. This exact pH range is required for the correct function of barrier enzymes, sphingomyelinase and beta-glucocerebrosidase, which synthesize ceramides directly within the stratum corneum. Alkaline cleansing products, soap, many gels, raise skin pH. Ceramide synthesis enzymes function poorly at alkaline pH. It is precisely this inhibition of ceramide formation that intensifies and prolongs the sensation of tightness. Mechanism 3. Panthenol and the provitamin mechanism. Panthenol is provitamin B5. Once it enters the skin, it is enzymatically converted into pantothenic acid, the form active in cellular metabolism. This vitamin is a cofactor of acetyl-CoA, the central substrate in the synthesis of fatty acids and sphingolipids. It is through this biochemical pathway that panthenol stimulates the synthesis of ceramides and other barrier lipids. There is an important detail. This is not an instant process. Adequate formation of protective ceramides requires regular use over several weeks. That's exactly why a single application of cream relieves the symptom of tightness, but does not restore the barrier. A course of treatment is needed for that. There is an important question about combining panthenol cream with other skincare products. Panthenol is compatible with most skincare ingredients. The one area to be careful with is acid peels and retinoids. These additionally disrupt the barrier, and during their use, a restorative cream with panthenol is especially important. During the use of active acids, panthenol protects the barrier from excessive irritation. There is concrete clinical research data. In several randomized studies, topically applied panthenol significantly reduced transepidermal water loss, increased the hydration index of the stratum corneum, and reduced the subjective sensations of dryness and tightness. This is why panthenol is one of the few skin nutrients with an evidence base specifically for barrier function. There is an important aspect regarding different skin types. Panthenol cream is suitable both for truly dry skin and for oily skin with weakened barrier function, which is more common than generally assumed. Oily skin with a disrupted barrier paradoxically loses water despite an excess of sebum. That's exactly why panthenol is relevant more broadly than only for people with dry skin. In other words, panthenol does not merely soften the skin. It participates in restoring the molecular composition of the barrier mortar. Mechanism 4. Panthenol as a hygroscopic agent. Panthenol has pronounced hygroscopic properties. It attracts and retains water molecules from the surrounding environment. This effect is realized directly within the stratum corneum. That's exactly why applying panthenol cream immediately after washing to slightly damp skin is most effective. Panthenol seals in moisture that has not yet had time to evaporate. There is an important clarification about the hygroscopic mechanism. Panthenol draws water not from the deeper layers of skin, but from the surrounding environment, provided that the air humidity is above 40%. That's exactly why in dry winter air, panthenol alone is insufficient. An occlusive component is needed to hold the water in. This role in the cream's formula is performed by lanolin and isopropyl palmitate. Mechanism 5. Panthenol and anti-inflammatory action in the skin. Chronic barrier dysfunction is accompanied by subclinical inflammation, activation of keratinocytes, and production of pro-inflammatory cytokines. It is this inflammation that sustains heightened skin sensitivity. The skin begins to react more strongly to water temperature, hardness, and surfactants than skin with an intact protective layer. Panthenol reduces this inflammatory background by stimulating fibroblast proliferation and collagen synthesis. Additional effects well known from the wound healing applications of panthenol. Mechanism 6. NMF and the natural moisturizing factor. The natural moisturizing factor, NMF, is a set of hygroscopic molecules inside corneocytes: amino acids, lactic acid, urea, and pyrrolidone carboxylic acid. NMF is responsible for the elasticity of the stratum corneum and its ability to retain water when humidity changes. Surfactants during washing strip NMF along with dirt. It is precisely the cream's ingredients, above all panthenol with its hygroscopic properties, that partially compensate for NMF loss until it is restored. The most common mistakes when skin feels tight after washing. Mistake 1. Treating tightness as normal and doing nothing. "I just have dry skin," is the most common belief. Yet tightness is a symptom of barrier dysfunction that can be corrected. Chronic disruption of the barrier's protective function creates a vicious cycle. Inflammation increases skin sensitization, and the skin reacts to an ever wider range of irritants. Early correction of barrier function breaks this cycle. There is an important addition to this logic. Many people with chronically disrupted barriers begin reacting to products they previously tolerated well: fragrances, fabrics, chlorine in swimming pools. This happens precisely because a disrupted barrier allows irritants through that healthy skin would filter out. Restoring the barrier, not avoiding all irritants, is the correct long-term strategy. There is a practical reference point for assessing the degree of disruption. If tightness after washing lasts less than 10 minutes, the barrier will recover on its own with correct care. From 10 to 40 minutes, systemic nutritional support is needed. Over 40 minutes, chronic disruption requiring dermatological correction. This tightness duration test allows independent assessment of barrier function without special equipment. There is a practical criterion indicating that barrier disruption has become chronic. If skin tightness persists for more than 40 minutes after washing, even with a neutral product, barrier function is chronically impaired. If the sensation passes within 10 to 15 minutes, the protective barrier is capable of rapid recovery. This simple reference point helps assess the degree of disruption without specialized equipment. There is a professional tool for objective barrier assessment. A tuometer, a device for measuring transepidermal moisture loss, shows the degree of barrier disruption in grams of water per square meter per hour. Normal values are below 15. In cases of chronic tightness, values of 20 to 30 or higher are often found. This test allows objective monitoring of barrier recovery during treatment. Mistake 2. Washing with hot water. Hot water, above 40 degrees Celsius, dissolves the intercellular lipids of the barrier significantly more actively than warm water. In addition, hot water dilates blood vessels. The skin reddens and becomes more reactive. Switching to cool or warm water, no higher than 37 degrees, is one of the simplest and fastest steps toward reducing tightness. There is an interesting physiological fact. Skin has its own temperature of approximately 34 to 35 degrees. Water warmer than this point begins to dissolve the intercellular lipids of the barrier, and the effect intensifies with each degree above that. That's exactly why the difference between washing with warm and hot water is fundamental for the barrier, not merely cosmetic. There is another heat factor that is often overlooked. A hot shower or bath disrupts the body's protective layer, just as hot facial washing does on the face. That's exactly why people with atopic dermatitis and dry skin are advised not only to use cool water for facial washing, but also to lower the temperature of their shower water. Mistake 3. Using soap or alkaline products. The pH of ordinary bar soap is 8 to 9. This value provides powerful cleansing, but equally powerful destruction of the skin's acid mantle. Products with a pH of 4 to 6, washes for sensitive skin, micellar water, Cleansing milk. Cleanse the skin without disrupting its barrier. Mistake 4. Applying cream to completely dry skin. Panthenol and other moisturizing ingredients work significantly more effectively when applied to slightly damp skin, within the first 1 to 2 minutes after washing. During this period, the water has not yet evaporated, and the cream creates an occlusive barrier that holds moisture in the stratum corneum. Applying to dry skin 20 minutes or more later is a less effective strategy. Mistake 5. Washing too frequently. Every wash with a cleansing product partially disrupts the barrier. When washing several times a day with gels and foams, the skin barrier does not have enough time to fully recover between sessions. Reducing the frequency of washing with active cleansers to once a day, in the evening, often significantly reduces tightness. There is a good rule for the morning ritual. In the morning, only cool water or micellar water without rinsing. In the evening, a full wash with a mild product after removing makeup or dirt. This routine provides adequate cleansing without excessive barrier disruption. Mistake 6. Wiping the face with a rough towel using friction. Mechanical friction when drying the face additionally traumatizes the stratum corneum and removes residual NMF. Gentle blotting, without friction, is the correct technique. After blotting, apply cream to still damp skin. There is a practical recommendation for towel selection. Soft cotton towels or disposable paper face towels are the least traumatic options. These disposable products are often recommended by dermatologists for people with very sensitive skin. They are sterile and do not accumulate bacteria from storage in the bathroom. What actually works for skin tightness after washing? First, change your cleanser. Choose a product with a pH of 4 to 6 and without sulfate surfactants. Sodium lauryl sulfate, sodium lauryl sulfate. Micellar water, cleansing milk, mild SLS-free gels. Choosing the right cleanser alone often eliminates or significantly reduces tightness without any additional treatment. There is a concrete guideline for product selection. Sensitive skin products often list the pH on the packaging. Look for values of 4 to 6. If pH is not stated, avoid products that list sodium lauryl sulfate, sodium lauryl sulfate, or a soap base within the first 5 ingredients. These are the most aggressive components for skin barrier function. There is a good alternative to traditional washing. Oil cleansing, applying a hydrophilic oil to dry skin and then emulsifying with water, cleanses the skin without any barrier disruption. This cleansing method is recommended by dermatologists for atopic dermatitis and significant barrier insufficiency. There is one more important cleansing principle. Movement during washing. Only gentle circular motions with the fingertip pads, without friction. Towel. Blotting only, no rubbing. Mechanical trauma during washing often contributes more to barrier destruction than the cleanser itself. There is a practical recommendation for those uncertain about their washing technique. Apply foam or gel to dry hands, lather, then gently transfer to the face, without pressure or friction. Rinse with cool water using gentle movements, without drying completely. This sequence of actions at every wash gradually stops barrier destruction and creates conditions for its recovery. There is a simple rule for towel selection. Soft fabric towels changed every 3 days are the minimum for sensitive skin. Rough or infrequently changed towels add 2 additional irritation factors, mechanical and microbial. The right combination of washing technique and towel produces a noticeable effect, faster than either change on its own. Second, lower the water temperature. Cool water, no higher than 37 degrees. This is especially important for city residents with hard tap water, which additionally disrupts the barrier through calcium and magnesium ions. Soft or cool water reduces transepidermal water loss after washing. There is an important aspect of water hardness. Hard tap water with a high content of calcium and magnesium ions forms insoluble salts with the components of soaps and cleansers. These settle on the skin and additionally disrupt the barrier. In cities with hard water, the sensation of tightness after washing is more pronounced. There is a way to soften water hardness without installing a filter. A few drops of apple cider vinegar in a bowl of water for rinsing the face lowers pH and softens the water. Some dermatologists recommend micellar water as an alternative to washing in areas with hard water. These measures often noticeably reduce tightness without any additional skincare products. There is a practical overall scheme for someone who wants to eliminate tightness. Step 1. Replace an aggressive cleanser with a mild one at pH 5 to 6. Step 2. Switch to cool water for washing. Step 3. Apply a panthenol cream immediately after washing to damp skin. This trio of simple actions performed regularly produces a noticeable result within 2 to 3 weeks. There is an underlying logic to this approach: less damage plus active restoration. This formula is the entire correct approach to tightness. No complex multi-step routines, just elimination of the cause and support for recovery. Using filtered or bottled water is not a luxury. It is a real therapeutic tool. Third, apply panthenol cream immediately after washing. See the detailed product section below. Fourth, don't wash with a cleanser in the morning. In the morning, plain water or micellar water is sufficient. There is virtually no dirt after a night's sleep. Eliminating the morning gel wash halves the total daily barrier load. Fifth, add omega-3 to your diet. Omega-3 fatty acids are structural components of keratinocyte membranes. When deficient, skin loses elasticity and barrier function, regardless of topical care. The combination of topical panthenol application and internal omega-3 supplementation often produces a more pronounced restorative effect than either approach alone. There is a concrete list of omega-3 rich foods for skin. Fatty fish, salmon, mackerel, herring, 2 to 3 times a week. Flaxseed oil, chia seeds, walnuts. These foods supply the skin with the structural components of keratinocyte membranes that cannot be obtained through topical products. Sixth, normalize indoor air humidity. When indoor air humidity falls below 40%, a typical situation in winter with the heating on, skin loses water through evaporation more actively. A humidifier, or even a bowl of water placed near a radiator, reduces transepidermal water loss and decreases the intensity of tightness throughout the day. Panthenol cream for skin tightness after washing. Specifics. Composition: water, panthenol, isopropyl palmitate, cetearyl alcohol, lanolin, propylene glycol, polysorbate 60, phenoxyethanol, ethyl hexyl glycerin. Let me break down the composition in detail. Panthenol, provitamin B5, the main active ingredient. Stimulates synthesis of barrier lipids, has hygroscopic properties, reduces subclinical inflammation. Isopropyl palmitate, an emollient. Replenishes lost surface lipids and creates a light occlusive film that reduces transepidermal water loss. Cetearyl alcohol, a fatty alcohol emulsifier. Improves the cream's texture and creates an additional protective barrier. Lanolin, a natural wax close in composition to sebum, one of the most physiologically compatible occlusive ingredients. Lanolin is well suited to the skin barrier and restores the lipid composition of the stratum corneum. Propylene glycol, a humectant. Attracts and retains moisture in the stratum corneum, enhancing the moisturizing action of panthenol on the skin. Phenoxyethanol and ethyl hexyl glycerin, preservatives with a good tolerability profile that do not irritate barrier-compromised skin. 3 specific mechanisms as they apply to tightness. First, applying to damp skin after washing seals in moisture. Panthenol and propylene glycol retain water, while isopropyl palmitate and lanolin create an occlusive barrier. The sensation of tightness disappears or significantly decreases within the first few minutes. Second, with regular use, panthenol stimulates ceramide synthesis, gradually restoring the quality of the barrier, mortar. This cumulative effect reduces the intensity of tightness over the long term. There is an important note about the product's composition. Isopropyl palmitate and lanolin in the cream create an occlusive layer that slows water evaporation, transepidermal water loss. This combination of humectant, emollient, and occludant is a complete moisturizing strategy. Attract water, hold it, and seal it in. That's exactly why all 3 levels of moisturization work simultaneously and synergistically. There is one more detail about the composition. Phenoxyethanol and ethyl hexyl glycerin form a modern preservative system with minimal irritation potential. This combination of preservatives allows the cream to remain safe for sensitive barrier-compromised skin, unlike older formulas containing parabens. Third, lanolin and cetearyl alcohol create physical protection of the stratum corneum against surfactants during the next wash, meaning that regular cream use reduces the damaging effect of subsequent washing. How to use. Apply to damp face within 1 to 2 minutes after washing. Use light patting movements without friction. Use morning and evening after washing. A course of at least 4 to 6 weeks is needed for full barrier restoration. Link to the panthenol cream is in the description of this video. There is a final observation. People who switch to a correct washing routine and begin using a panthenol cream often notice one more unexpected effect. The skin starts accepting cosmetics better. Foundation sits more evenly and doesn't flake off by evening. Precisely because a restored barrier creates a smooth, well-hydrated surface. Tightness after washing is not a skin type and not a fate. It is a symptom of a disrupted barrier that is restored with the right care. 3 concrete steps. Switch to a pH-neutral cleanser without sulfate surfactants. Move to cool water and blotting to dry. Apply panthenol cream to a damp face immediately after washing. After 4 to 6 weeks of regular use, measure how the duration of tightness has changed. This will be the objective sign that the barrier is recovering. Link to the panthenol cream is in the description of this video. If this video was helpful, please like and subscribe to the channel. Write your skincare questions in the comments. I read and respond. See you in the next video.